design, so I just have to throw that out. They did a fabulous job of design here. But really, most of the action, I'm going to say, happens outside of this office, obviously, with installing lines and all that good stuff. So we do want to do a walk around and just give you a tour of the facility. And then Neil and I are going to split, and and Robbie got in as well. So then we'll do a walk around of the office, and then we'll kind of just be ready for our presenters to just share information about their company, and then we'll do question and answer and all that good stuff. All right, so you're in and Robbie's in. Are you ready to kind of do a walk around tour?
Yeah, totally. Robbie, you're in good. The speakers, everything.
I don't know. Can I pretend to have technology problems? Be like, oh, I'm sorry, my headset doesn't work.
Yeah. See, the other thing I want to throw out there to all students is I'm hoping we haven't 100% confirmed, but I really want to do a second virtual field trip with HYAK for the entire school district. We do our weekly virtual field trips around town, and if it works out on February 18th, we could actually be out in the field, cell phone, selfie stick style. So you're going to get to talk face to face with the pros today, and then hopefully we'll get a little field footage. And then in May, Elevate through Lane County, they have recorded beautiful, awesome footage, but they're not releasing that for students to watch until May. But you'll get it all.
Gotcha. We haven't even seen that footage yet, if it exists somewhere out there, so we'll be excited to see it.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and do a little walk around, and then Angela, remind us what time we need to wrap up again by.
That would be 11:10.
Okay, so we have time.
Yeah.
And let's see, I am going to, let's pin, where am I? There we go. There, all right, so we're going to pin, and Neil will just go ahead and tell me if I don't have anything in the view of the camera.
Nope, you're good. So this is kind of our main entrance to the office here. And, like she said, Robbie and his wife Stephanie spent a lot of time doing some renovations and detail work inside here. And so we have a fancy conference room that we built up over here that you can see. Inside this little room, we have a big 65-inch TV on the wall we use for meeting conferences, as well as a giant conference table. Some of the tech that we could use inside here is we can take and sling information from the surfaces up to the TV wirelessly for doing presentations and stuff like that. And so we have a group of people in here, and we can all share our information up on the TV when groups of people were allowed again.
Yeah. Hey, how many virtual tours have you done so far? School district?
I think this is going to be, for educated-related purposes, probably our third or fourth, and then including the one next month again, fourth or fifth.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you all are a key component to us all staying connected in the middle of a pandemic.
It is. Everybody needs the internet. Without internet, school right now, people can work from home, and there's all kinds of reasons to have connectivity. A lot of it is just entertainment. We do crazy things, Netflix or something like that. Yeah. We'll see there again with all the over here is where Katie, she's not sitting here right now, but she's our office manager. So she handles all of our intake and outgoing customers, clients, phone calls, scheduling resources.
Hey, and then as far as customers go, because you've had at least 3 customers stop by since I've been here, and you'll probably cover this, but you serve both, what do we want to say, community members as well as businesses. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, we would say we cover residential clients, is how we classify that, as well as business clients.
Okay.
And then some of those business clients are community foundations, nonprofits, school districts, and other places like that. And so we handle a lot of the residential internet. People come in, like, my computer broke, I need help fixing it, I can't get my Outlook to work, I can't figure out my password to Netflix. I mean, there's a whole range of things that we do with the residential customers.
I feel like I should almost back up and ask you, I know we're making our way through the building here too. When I looked at your website, it kind of identified 4 key hubs or services that you provide, and like Wi-Fi connectivity was one of them. Mm-hmm. Do you want to do a quick share out of the other areas that you all cover besides just Wi-Fi connectivity?
Yeah, so the internet is one of those squares, which is with our fixed wireless products as well as our fiber optic internet stuff that we put in the ground. Another one of those squares was Office 365, which is a giant platform usually used for business enterprises or entire office suite like email, server management, security tools, virtual machines, and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember off the top of my head what the other two squares were. We have managed services, I think was one of the other ones there. And so business networks or services in general, a lot of places don't have the resources to fully fund a dedicated IT person full time. And so what you'll see is a company like us that does managed services, that comes in and for a reduced rate of what they would normally pay an IT person, they can have an outside company manage their networks, their users, support, and things like that.
Okay. And the school district does utilize your services occasionally, or they consult with you all?
They consult with us sometimes for technical stuff, and then we do have a relationship with them for some of the internet connectivity that's needed right now for the remote.
Got it. All right. Well, awesome.
So we're going to continue on through here. This is kind of just our storage area, and we'll have a lot of stuff in the way for parts and jobs and things like that. We can come on through here. We got a little kitchen and break area that everybody would be happy to have because you got to have your coffee and little snacks throughout the day. And
look at the modern design, though. I love it. Sorry, I can't not compliment about the shiplap walls, people.
Robbie and Steph did a good job. I think I'll win on Steph a little bit more here.
Yeah, I won't take too much credit for that one.
You're not taking credit for shiplap? What's going on?
Maybe the installation of, but not the design aspects.
Hey, I just have to say something about this workspace. It's just very modern, contemporary, open, flexible kind of working situation. So
it is. It's very modular. So this Robbie, you might know the technical term, what they call this. It's kind of like an open workspace or hot desking. We really rely on surfaces, which are highly portable laptop/tablet computers that we use. And so at any one of the workstations you were sitting at, you can just sit down and plug in your Surface and start working. A lot of us like to have dedicated keyboards and stuff. We kind of have, I don't want to call them assigned cubicles, but that's what it really boils down to because they have their own little workspace. But if I ever had to go sit down in James' cubicle, I could just plug in my Surface.
Plug and play. I have to mention that because that is something that teacher librarians look. We move into a library. We look literally at every square inch of space in the library and think about how we can flip it and turn it into learning space. And we're all into flexible seating and all that kind of stuff. So
I'm going to pick on Dave's cubicle here. He's one of our remote technicians. He does a lot of the 365 telephone support, remote work. He travels too, go up and work on machines. It's just in Newport 2 or 3 times the last week or so, helping with printers and whatever other devices we have to do physically.
So in Newport, what's the area? Like, how far do you all reach out to provide support?
Newport's on the farthest physical north travel side, so I'd say probably a 6-mile radius for physical support, be able to drive. But we have customers all over the country that we help with remote stuff. So as long as there's internet, we can help them pretty much wherever they're at in the world. We've had people go on vacation in other countries that get stuck with something and call us on the Skype or Teams
from another country
and say, my computer's not working right, what do I need to do? And we can help out.
Awesome.
So yeah, this is just one of the areas, double screens. You got a Surface set up there, and you kind of get to make it your own. And it's a good little workspace.
All right.
We have a good seating area here for taking breaks or whatever else, which is pretty technical and stuff. But, sound dampening. That was one of the things that we figured out inside an area like this. You got a lot of reverb and whatnot. And so you can see the squares on the wall. They aren't just there for design purposes. They are actually sound dampening squares.
Beautiful and smart, intelligent design. Very nice.
And then over here, I'm going to turn around where we came back in. You can't really see too much on the screens right now. We haven't been working in the office 100%, so they're not on 100% of the time. But typically, we call those dock screens, and we can see what's going on our network and look at tickets that are out and kind of keep the status on everything that's happening. And then normally we don't have all that kind of junk piled up on the bench, but one of the things we do with the outside network and fiber is we'll go and install fiber in big commercial buildings or multi-dwelling units like apartment complexes and stuff. And we have to prep by getting a lot of pieces of conduit, PVC and stuff. And again, we don't have a lot of storage space, and so we'll get stuff in right before the job and get ready to go out and do a big project.
Do we want to go look at some of that up and close, or do we want to save that until a little bit later in the? I think it's always interesting to see some of the parts.
this isn't anything that's too crazy here. It's the normal PVC piping and stuff if anybody's ever done any gardening work or like electrical conduits and stuff. Some of the tools that we use that are a little different, be like a chop saw. You might use a wood shop for cutting wood, except we use metal blades to cut steel and stuff out in the field. A lot of our patch cables or Ethernet cables, you're probably familiar with just seeing those around your house from your router and things like that. Concrete drill bits that are special tips. These anchor bolts are designed to go into concrete walls. If you drill a hole in the concrete, pound it in there, and then when it tries to pull back, it will back down. A lot of the stuff isn't too fancy, electrical boxes and stuff for doing things. One of the things I can show you is a bundle of actual fiber cable that we're getting ready to put in. And so this is 5 individual cables all bundled and taped together. However, if you look at one of these, at the very end, which you probably can't see too well, in the very center there is a piece of fiber. And there's actually 2 strands of fiber in this. And those fibers are smaller than your human hair when you strip all this stuff off. And that's what you end up working with. And believe it or not, the light comes through there, and that's what provides the internet.
That is so wild.
Like what you guys are seeing right now through Google, they're all carried across cables like this. So all that video, voice, data, all comes across fiber optics. That's
so amazing. That's awesome. Any more of the tour? Or are we kind of feeling like we want to split apart and you can be at your...
Yeah, I think we're good right now. I'll call you back to the conference room with my laptop, and then we'll come in and break up and take questions about the more technical side.
I think that's good. And then I think, if any technical questions come up and you guys want to screen share and show us an image of something to illustrate, and Mrs. Apodaca, I believe you a couple of the guys actually in a hole, like installing some cable, I think. So anyway,
yes, I posted a couple of pictures, one of the front of your building, and then another, I think of a couple of people installing some fiber optic doodads.
I'll go meet you back here, try to pull up those photos. Robbie, if you want to kind of start a spiel about the technical side of things, I'll be back up with you.
Okay, yeah, so let's turn it over to Robbie. And you can just share out, and I'm going to mute myself, but please feel free, like I said, to screen share out. Teachers, feel free to jump in, and students, feel free to jump in.
Feel free to. I would love to ask or answer any questions that anybody might have. There's lots of technical aspects we could review, so if anybody has some specific questions, I would love to answer them.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Please.
Hey, so we've been doing these virtual field trips around town, K-12, and I will tell you for a fact that when we do our on-site live one later on in February, one of the questions I get from like our 3rd graders constantly, we were at the water treatment plant and then the wastewater treatment plant, and kids they're just fascinated with the mechanics of getting things from point A to point B. Like our 3rd graders were asking questions about, well, how do you move the water? Like the mechanics, the hydraulics, the engineering of getting things from point A to point B. So in addition to that, can you talk about point A to point B specifics? And then the tangent I want to throw onto that, I was talking to Neil. I live north of town. We don't have lines to us, so we have to use either satellite or we're hooked up with N-Connect now. So maybe you would explain the difference between the fiber optics, and if that doesn't exist, like what other options there are, maybe.
Sure. Well, I'll pick on a area north of town, maybe Herman Cape Road, for example, for those of you guys that are familiar with that. Herman Cape is kind of north of C&M Stables, like when you're heading up to Yachats or Baltimore. And so somewhere like Herman Cape, if we were to take our fiber up there, it is not overly complicated, but you literally have to take a cable from somewhere in town, stretch it all the way up Highway 101, and take it up to somebody's house. And that is what we do with our fiber. So we will either use really simple methods like digging a trench, sometimes by hand, sometimes with a piece of equipment, and sometimes we use something called the directional drill, that actually puts pipe down in the ground and has a kind of a regular drill head and can go drill 300 feet down the road, but at 4 or 5 feet deep. And so if somebody came to us and said, hey, we want to go take fiber to Herman Cape, we ultimately have to bury pipe in the ground. You guys are at our office today, which is kind of by the library in 7-Eleven. The other portion of our business is in the business park. That's kind of our like construction yard that we've talked about a little bit about, maybe checking that out on the next one. And so at our construction yard, we have all of our kind of machinery and equipment and, 9-foot tall reels of conduit that weigh 2,000 pounds each. And also at that location is what we call our fiber hut or our fiber head end. And it is basically a concrete bunker where all of our fiber kind of goes into. And so if we were to extend something up to Herman Cape, just as an example, we would ultimately have to get a piece of fiber out of that building, up Kingwood, out 35th, over to 101, and all the way up to that direction. And once that
its own separate little fiber, again, the mechanics of it is its own separate little fiber, or can you like toggle off with another fiber?
No, you certainly can. There's some different technology that goes into that. Try to think of a good way to explain it. For most purposes, we would end up having to get a cable from our building in the business park all the way up to Herman Cape Road or to C&M Stables or wherever it may be. And so along the way, we might be able to intercept that cable. Like if we needed to go down Hasita Beach Road, for example, we might have one cable that comes out of our business park and goes all the way north. But if we had to, we could kind of tap into that cable and take some other cable up Hasita Beach Road. And there's kind of two types of fiber. Some of them is what's called active Ethernet, without getting too technical. It basically is Neil mentioned one strand of fiber is the size of a human hair. And imagine taking one piece of hair to every house in the city. And that's almost like a dedicated connection you're plugging straight in. The other one is what they call a passive network, and it uses prisms, like something you guys might have seen in a physics class or a science class, and it uses a prism, and we shoot a laser into that prism, and it splits it into different wavelengths or different colors of light. And we might be able to take one strand of fiber, again the size of a human hair, shoot a laser down it, and it'll hit a prism, and it might split that fiber into 32 different connections or 64 different connections, all different wavelengths of color, and then we can serve a house off of each of those different wavelengths.
Hey, I'm just looking at the time, and we have plenty of time. It's 10:50. Teachers and students, we never got a chance for all the teachers and students to introduce themselves. I don't mean to just hop in right in the middle of this, but do we want to go around and just say hi, everybody, and then at the same time we can start taking questions from students?
Absolutely, sounds good to me. And I'm trying to dig up some photos of things to explain what Robbie was just describing too, so you can get a little better idea.
All right, while you do that, Mrs. Apodaca, do you want to start by introducing yourself? And I'll just call on people. I see people's screens, and I'll just call on people if that works.
Yes, that works great. And we talked about doing like a little introduction moment, so we were ready to go whenever the timing worked out. So I'm Ms. Apodaca, and I am a transition specialist at Sayula High School, and I work on vocational skills with students and really help with some planning around plans for after high school.
Awesome. Next on my screen is Mrs. Mason. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Terry Mason. I'm a teacher up at the high school, and then also I'm working with Miss A on the YTP portion. So very excited. And then I have a student that's kind of offline with us, but I'm going to try to see if he can introduce himself, if that's all right. So let's try this. Whoa, wait, give me one more minute. You can go to someone else and we'll come back to him.
Will do. Mrs. Lindell, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? And some of our staff members are on the meets and then get pulled away to assist students. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Hi, sorry about that. I was in the middle of answering a question. My name is Mrs. Lindell, and I'm one of the resource teachers at the high school, and I'm just here to learn more about what's in our community.
Thank you so much for that. Next on my screen, I have student Angel McGill. If you're on, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Angel McGill. All I really do is babysit and watch my brother and sisters. So.
But possibly interested in learning about HYAK and Wi-Fi and all that good stuff. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for taking care of your younger siblings during the pandemic. I mean, we are all just making it happen, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm excited to learn.
Thank you. Awesome. Next on my screen, I have Trinity Gray. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Trinity Gray, and I am extremely interested in this program due to me just being into technology. I have been studying informational technology for a bit, dedicating some of my high school credits to that, and I'm planning on taking more once I get this whole school thing out of the way.
Well, we'll get through our introductions, and then, especially since you have such an interest, I want you to chime in with some questions for our experts.
I don't really have any questions, really. I actually just like listening in on this stuff and learning along the way. I'm more of a listener rather than a talker. Sorry about that.
No worries. That's all good. That's all good. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it's a pleasure talking with you guys.
Yeah. All right. I think possibly Mrs. Mason might be ready. Do you want to pop back up to Mrs. Mason?
All right, let's see if you can hear him. Colin? Can you hear him?
We weren't able to at least.
Oh, all right, bummer. Well, we have Colin on the other. Yeah, we have him on the other line, but he is one of our seniors here, and he's interested in all kinds of things and has all kinds of questions to ask when it's time for questions.
All right, we're almost there. 3 more individuals to introduce. Logan Teal, if you can hear me, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Logan Teal. I'm a senior, and yeah, that's all I got, really.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Next, I have Rogelio Adams. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
You call me by Roy. That's the first time anyone got my name right. But yeah, you can call me by Roy. My name is Roy Adami. I'm pretty interested into theaters, into working with them.
All right.
And I'm a senior.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And then last, we have MB Dunn. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is MB Dunn. I'm the library tech here at the Sayusa Middle School. And so, yeah, I like to go out on these and learn about the community a little bit more, and then also get to see, what kind of interest our students have as well and how we can support that.
All right, awesome. Well, with that, we did the introductions and throw it back to Robbie and Neil. Neil, maybe you're ready to screen share and kind of show us some images.
Yeah, I have a few things pulled up, and I guess we didn't really do a formal introduction either, so I'll just say hi, I'm Neil Ecker again, and technically I'm the COO, which is the Chief Operating Officer of HYAK, and kind of involved in most of the day-to-day operations, making sure projects traverse, things are going right, make a lot of technical decisions between employees and building things out in the field. Yeah, I'll let Robbie do his brief introduction too.
I'm not on mute, so that's good. I was actually just sidetracked looking at our pictures on Facebook, because I think a lot of our pictures on Facebook actually do a decent job of kind of showing what we do. But yeah, Neil and I are business partners. We both kind of ran 2 independent businesses. I had Sayusa Broadband, which was our kind of local ISP, and Neil had Full Spectrum Computers, and we worked together for many years, and ended up, kind of marrying our businesses together in 2016 and 17, and are kind of crushing it together now. So I'm actually going to beat Neil to the screen share here. So give me just a second. I want to show you guys.
How dare you?
I know. We have a few. Neil kind of mentioned it. We basically have kind of two sides of our business. One of them, if you want to look at it like this, is you guys should all see a Facebook screen here, right?
Yep.
Okay. One of them is basically you're inside, you're at a computer, or you're working at home, and you're helping some of our business clients or even some of our like home users. I mean, how many times have you guys, as a student, been to your aunt and uncle's house and you're trying to get their Wi-Fi password and they don't know it? Or you're at mom and dad's or whatever the situation is. And so we get those kinds of phone calls, people that are internet customers of ours, and they forgot their Wi-Fi password. And so half of our business is kind of that inside. I'm going to work in an office. I might be working on a firewall or a router and doing kind of like some networky stuff, or I might be making some tweaks on a website. The other half of our business is the internet side. That's kind of more outdoor stuff. If you had asked me 5 years ago if I thought I could run a mini excavator, I would have told you no. Or if you had asked Neil if he could ride on a tractor and cut a hole in the road, you probably would have answered no. But as small business owners, you both kind of tend to learn a few things that you didn't think you would do. In fact, just because I can, this is a picture of me running a mini excavator. A few years ago now, this was actually when we got our lot in the business park. But what you can kind of see right here, this kind of gray box in the bottom, is one of our vaults. And so if you were to open one of these lids, you would see a whole bunch of conduit inside of it with a whole bunch of fiber cables. And so some of those fiber cables come on big spools that look like this. So these big black spools are full of fiber. And so we put those on a special spool carrier and just pull them off and have some special tools to help us kind of put them in the conduit in the ground. This is what some of that conduit looks like. And in the kind of the background here, you can even see a whole bunch of the reels of fiber that we have there. And so this is a specific kind of conduit. They're all a little bit different. This is a kind of a typical thing here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. This is one of those vaults open with a whole bunch of those small conduits and fibers inside of there. And us actually, in this particular case, this little machine that Neil is using on this tripod here, for the price, trying to think of a good analogy here, the price of my first car, I think I could have bought 6 of my first cars with this little tiny machine right here. That's how much that little piece of equipment costs. And what it does is it uses compressed air and a whole bunch of kind of sophisticated stuff to actually blow the fiber into the conduits. And so this is a lot of our kind of outside stuff. This is actually another shot. We had a group of kids that wanted to learn some more about fiber stuff, and this is actually these black lines here in the ground are some of the actual cables, while those orange lines are the conduits that the cables live in. And so this is neat.
Do we have all around town? Are they just?
Oh shoot! I don't know, Neil. How many vaults do we have in the ground like this? 100 now?
Yeah, at least 100, and that's not counting each individual house where we put a flower pot. So you guys are probably familiar with seeing what is called pedestals out in front of your house or yard that are green and they stick up out of the ground. Those are above ground, and those are typically Charter, Spectrum, and the CenturyLink. We chose to bury all of our plants so that people can't run over the equipment and damage it. Like Robbie was saying, when it comes to splicing fiber, it's not as easy as copper. It's a lot more intensive, and I've got some photos too that I can kind of show some of the splicing stuff once we get done here. And there's actually, Robbie, that middle row on your left in Park Village is a splicing setup. So, copper cables or your traditional cable TV, you can cut and just strip it back and put a connector on, screw it together, and about your business you go. While fiber can be split, it's like networking. And so you have to have one fiber and you have to take another one and either join them together, or it goes into a box that splits the prism and the light wave colors. And so it's a lot more labor intensive to get a specific splice case is what this is called. So in this particular picture, they're working over in the Park Village area behind the police station. And this case is our primary junction point. And so that big black tube at the ground there goes over all of the fibers once they're spliced together. And in this instance, it'll hold about 150 splices inside there. That case is capable of holding a lot more. So this is a picture of one of the vaults, like Robbie has done, and this one's done, I guess you would call it, unless we have another customer that comes and re-adds. But all of those conduits coming inside there have fiber cable coming into them, and they go out to different locations around that vault. The network's built kind of like a spider web, if you will. So we have a main cable that comes into a central area, and then a smaller cable that goes over to another point, and then from that point you have other cables that come out to the houses at the very last mile, if you want to call it that.
Awesome. I'm just keeping an eye on time, and we still have 5-6 minutes until class is over. So Neil, I wonder if you were going to screen share, and then students, like, you see I'm asking lots of informal, impromptu questions. Like, students, chime in. I know one of you said you had some questions for our experts.
All right. Colin had a question, 3 of them actually. So first question was, what jobs are available at HYAK? The second one, in connection to that, was how much schooling is needed to get a job. And then 3 was, how much is the pay?
Sure. I'll take a few of those here and kind of answer them in a mixed manner. So we actually just extended a job offer to what we would call like as an outside plant laborer almost. And so generally those start at something slightly above minimum wage in that $12 to $15 an hour. But those particular jobs require pretty much no experience. And we will embed you with one of our other employees whose main job, actually the pictures that Neil are showing right now, kind of his main job is a lot of our outside plant kind of management and getting the fibers spliced together and things like that. And if you want to look at it like this, it's almost like an assistant to that person. And so you're kind of learning how it works. You're using shovels and helping get conduit in the ground and helping pull fiber in. And so it's absolutely kind of an outside job, but it's completely introductory level. Probably pays a little bit more than some fast food options, but gets you some pretty good life experience that you can absolutely turn into a job. You guys met Dane real briefly. We hired him just prior to Christmas, I think maybe. So he was our most recent employee before the one we just hired this week. And his role is a little bit different. He is mainly more tech support. And those roles are generally experience dependent, and they can range, again, anywhere from $13 to $18, $20 an hour. And their main job is to answer phones and help customers with technology problems. And that's, I mean, where Neil and I got started was helping relatives with technology problems, I feel like is where most of us get started.
Hey, are those, for that level of position, is it a degreed position, or can you join and learn on the job without an IT degree?
Neil and I would both hire for experience first and college degrees second. And if somebody came to us with a master's in IT, they'll be pretty book smart, but that doesn't always translate immediately to like on the job intelligence. If somebody came to us and said, hey, I built my own computer, or I set up this wireless network at my church or community center or something like that, those skills are really valuable to us. Sometimes more so than a college degree. Some of our higher end jobs that are like managed network for businesses, those generally go to some of the professional certifications. And again, there aren't necessarily college degree required, but some of those like, uber duper nerdy certifications, like I actually have a cybersecurity certification. Some of those certs kind of do a better job for us.
Just a tangent off of that, because I think one of the students did ask, if you do pursue your degree in information technology, like what are the degrees? Like what do you usually get your bachelor's or bachelor of science in, or a master's degree?
Nowadays, my brother-in-law actually just is in the process of graduating right now with his degree in cybersecurity. And he's my age. He's been in the military before and works in that industry still. And so cybersecurity is a really huge and important one. And from my perspective, if kids are going into college and you want to have a family wage earning job, information security is going to be job security for the next 20 or 30 years, hands down. But there's a ton of generic computer science degrees, even business management. Where I went to college, they had a business management program that had kind of a focus area on computer science. Those are pretty valuable. So it really depends on the school you want to go to. Most of the time, if you stay in state, your college tuition will be a whole lot more palatable than going out of state. So I would probably encourage everybody to try to find a good solid one in state. We have lots of options with Portland State and Western Oregon and U of O, Southern Oregon. Lots of reasonably priced one compared to other options that can help you split computer science and business management.
Hey, we have about 2 minutes left. So, Neil, did you have more to share, and or students? Any other questions?
Just real quick, I think you guys could see my screen possibly with the tiny thing. So this is a close up of that splice tray that you see inside the vault that is out there. And if you look to the far right, you'll see that there is 4 little tiny like tubes snapped in the center with little colored hairs, if you will, coming out of each end of them. Those are the actual individual fibers that you're looking at when we're building this stuff. And to be even a little bit more detailed, the glass core is about half the diameter of that bluish thread that you see. And so that's how everything is colored. To Robbie's point, I never imagined, 6 years ago that I would be building a fiber network on our own. I've loved computers. I was raised in retail, and so I always knew that I wanted to do something in the technology field, and I just stuck with it. There's some days that are super challenging, but do what you like. If you're into networking and cybersecurity, stick with that. If you like the construction and to physically see some product that you've made come to life, building a network like this or installing Wi-Fi networks or managing networks, that kind of stuff gives you a physical sense that you've accomplished some things. So just don't let the challenges ahead of you. And no question is too, I don't want to say stupid, like ask away, because it's where you've got to learn. And even today, when I'm working with clients and consulting for people that have, what you would consider really high level, high paying jobs in other businesses, they have questions that they ask that they don't know the answers to too. And the only way to get to that point is to ask those questions. So if you guys ever feel like you have a question technology related that you can't get an answer for, feel free to contact us, reach out.
Okay, with that being said, it is 11:10. Ms. Apodaca, do you want to close up class? And I would just remind everyone, I think we haven't confirmed, but if Robbie and Neil are okay with doing another one of these for the whole school district out in the field on the 18th, then we can give you another live look of the physical out in the field stuff too. But go ahead.
Thank you so much again to our 2 guests from HYAK for coming and sharing all of this with us. And I really enjoyed that. And such great information. Great to have a little inside view of your workspace as well, and to see some of those pictures out in the field. And I thank you for the links as well. I'm going to hold on to those and share those with students. And thanks to our class too for participating and asking your questions and for your attention. So all really great. And thank you, Ms. McKenzie, for helping us plan it and make it happen.
Yes, thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah, I love doing these.
Awesome.
And just a thank you to everyone. And I'll do one last pitch for Library Land. So I'm a teacher librarian. Our curriculum standards are reading advocacy, information literacy, digital citizenship, and technology integration. Like, it's my mission to embed those literacies across the school district. With that being said, we just all need to give a round of applause to our HYAK staff members. We are all discovering in the middle of the pandemic just how necessary our internet connections are, and we could not, Florence could not do it without you all. So,
well, thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody have a good afternoon.
Have a great day, everyone.
All right. Take care.
Bye.